Hi, everyone. Welcome back. I'm Elia Gluckstadt from Ketubah.com. I manage our social media and blog content. I'm here with Tani Gordon today, our operations manager. Welcome.
Thank you. Today's going to be another informative video from us, hopefully, and we're going to talk about Hebrew names. It's another question that we get all the time, actually lots of questions about Hebrew names and how they fit in with the Ketubah purchase and process.
Yeah, I think this is a great topic for us to talk about. Forewarning, if you have ordered an unpersonalized ketubah, this won't apply to you. All those spaces for your Hebrew names are left blank, and you will fill those out on your own or by the artist or by the rabbi. So this is really specific for if your ketubah is being personalized by Ketubah.com. So you'll be submitting all that information.
Yes, exactly. The information, the Hebrew names will be needed to be added on, but you don't need to provide them to us. That's a discussion you'll have separately with your officiant. So we have, obviously, if you order a ketubah with us and you've selected either traditional Aramaic text or a text that requires Hebrew, you've chosen Hebrew, this is where this conversation would come into play. We do have blank spaces, they need to be filled out, and Hebrew names are what we're talking about today. So we'll figure out how to fill out those spaces.
Yeah. So I think the first question is that a lot of people have is, how do you know what your Hebrew name is? Like, just from the basic, maybe you are not participatory in your community and maybe you're not really sure what your first and middle name in Hebrew are. So what are some of the really good, easy, quick ways to maybe find out what your Hebrew name might be?
Yeah, that is a question we get all the time. So there are, for example, the birth certificates. If you have the birth announcements in Hebrew, so very often you get a Hebrew name certificate. You can talk to your parents, see if they have that filed away. You can always look there as a reference. Another place to look is it's a little bit morbid, but if you know you're named after a grandparent or a great grandparent, you can look at go to the cemetery, see what name is put on their ketubah. Very often people have actually gone there, sent us pictures of the stone, and then we're able to take the name right off of there because they are named after a loved one who's passed away. And you can always talk to your officiant. The officiant is the one who's going to deem this a kosher ketubah, so the officiant might have some suggestions on how to figure out what your Hebrew name is if those two other options are not going to work out for you.
And now, what about people who are marrying spouses who are either converted or maybe are still not converted and don't have given Hebrew names? What do people suggest for them?
So in order to keep the ketubah symmetrical, so to speak, you want to be able to make sure that the person who has a Hebrew name's name definitely goes in there. And for anyone who doesn't have a Hebrew name, we really strongly suggest transliteration, which means we take their English name and put it into Hebrew letters. So when it's pronounced or read in Hebrew, it's exactly the same way it would be pronounced in English.
That's great. And everybody on the staff, I think, knows how to do that. Everybody's fairly fluent in Hebrew and can spell everything out. So there's never a worry or concern that we won't know how to spell it. Which is
right.
Good.
People are often concerned that we're giving them a Hebrew name. So we don't give people Hebrew names. That's not what we do. It's not their name. We would put their name into Hebrew letters. For example, Josh, we would spell Josh. So it's not something that we're giving you a name. It's exactly what your name would be. Anthony would be Anthony. Any name would be exactly how it's pronounced. It's not a new name. It's not a different name. It's not a Hebrew name.
That's great. And if somebody knows what their Hebrew name is, but maybe doesn't know how to spell it in Hebrew, is there an ability on our personalization form that maybe somebody would be able to look it up or be able to like spell it out the right way? I know that our personalization form has really been improved over the years, which has been a
Yeah,
great tool for people.
definitely. So I'm gonna share my screen to just give everybody a little screenshot of that
That's great. I think that'll be really
form.
awesome for people to be able to see what it looks like and that you'll be able to see how you look up your name.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys can see my screen, but right here you can see that there's different tabs at the top. There's the wedding couple option, which deals with the text that you selected and the type of couple you are. The wedding date, which is another great tool. If you know the English date and time of wedding, it'll give you the Hebrew date. Location as well, city and state. But now we're talking about the Hebrew name. So at the top, right here, we're on the groom's information tab. Again, if it's a same-sex wedding, the tabs, you'll be asked at the beginning, and the tabs will say groom 1, groom 2, or bride 1, bride 2, but right now this is the example we're using. And as you can see here at the top, we wrote the groom's name, Josh Goodman. And over here is the section where you would put in the Hebrew name. So I know my Hebrew name is Joshua or Yehoshua, but I don't know how to spell that. So what you would do is you click in here and the screen would pop up, and you just start writing in your Hebrew name in English letters. So you would write Joshua, and right there below pops up the spelling of Hebrew, and you don't have to type, you don't have to know how to type, you don't have to have heavy Hebrew capabilities on your computer. You would just simply click on there, the name that you want, and the name has been added below. So you can see that it's populated in this field right here. You would click save and continue, and it would take you back to this screen, and you'd continue on with the middle name if you have a middle name. Very often people also ask, if I have a middle name in English, does that mean I have to have a middle name in Hebrew? And that's definitely not the case. I personally have 3 Hebrew names, but I only have 2 English names. So it doesn't have to be the same. The names don't even have to sound the same. It's just something everyone is kind of different depending on how their parents name them.
Yeah. And what if somebody doesn't have their name actually come up for some reason?
So there's another example of when you start typing in the name, the option in that drop down where it says Joshua in Hebrew, it would say, your name is not found in the dictionary. Please write my name in Hebrew letters. So that would be the option that you would see in that drop down. So you can select that, and then, as we discussed just before, that someone on our team will take your name as you spelled it out and put that into Hebrew letters for you.
Perfect. That's great and so easy to use.
Yes, very simple, very easy. Again, if you get stuck, our team here is always there to help you, walk you through it. But this tool is something that we created just to make it as easy, as seamless as possible. And for the people who don't like asking or reaching out for help, there's always the option to try to figure it out on your own. This tool is really simple, takes you step by step on how to work this.
And if you weren't really sure and you kind of just wanted to send it off to your officiant or your rabbi and let them fill it in, will they be able to do that?
Yeah, so the very last step of the Hebrew name or wizard, everything dictionary, wizard, we can have we ask you if you'd like to send it to your officiant to review the date, the location, and the names. You can just simply skip the step of the names and say, I want my officiant to have a look at it. And in that case, the officiant will get an email, get the same version of this, and will be able to look through everything to make sure that it is filled in correctly or fill it in themselves.
Perfect. That's so great.
Yeah. There's another part of Hebrew names which sometimes can be confusing, and that's when we ask for the names of the mother and the father of the person. Mm-hmm. So maybe I can talk a little bit about that. In Hebrew, we don't write the Hebrew name, the last names most often in Hebrew. Some people do. It would say Lemishpachat and the last name, which means the family of and the last name. But very often when we don't, we want to get the full Hebrew name, and the formula for that is your name, the son of your father and your mother. In some cases, we don't have the mothers on there. In Orthodox Ketubahs, very often it's just your name, the son of your father, or your name, the daughter of your father. But generally, the formula is your name, daughter of, or son of your parents' names. And that's why on the form we ask for the parents' names. It's really to formulate your name. We don't need your father's name or your mother's father's name. We don't go back to the grandparent generation. We're really just using the formula to figure out your name.
Right. That's really technically your Hebrew name, is you are the son or daughter of that person. That's important. That's a good thing to explain.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that when you go on that wizard that I just showed you, there's also a father's tab and a mother's tab. It looks exactly the same. We're going to ask for your father's name, and you go through the same process of looking it up in the dictionary and putting in the Hebrew name for that as well.
That's good. That's great. And if you wanted to omit it, you could just like put a dash or something, and you don't need your mother's.
You can click on it. We want to omit the name for whatever reason. You don't want to include them on the Ketubah. That's totally fine. It's an option on that.
That's great. And then I think once you have all those names and they're submitted, that's great. If you're signing your Ketubah, And now you might be writing your name. Sometimes you would sign in Hebrew, sometimes you would sign in English. I guess you would talk to your officiant, right, about like which one you might be doing.
Yeah,
And
for
then you can
sure.
practice it. And you can look at our form and practice how to sign it.
Exactly. Yeah, the names are almost all the names are in there, and if there's no name, we can always add it to our form for you. You can ask us how to spell it if it's a witness who wants to know how the Hebrew spelling of their name. We can certainly help you with the Hebrew characters so they can practice as well.
That's great. Well, I think that's everything. I hope that this is really helpful for people. If anybody has any additional questions, leave us a comment or send us a message. We'd be happy to discuss it or to answer you privately. This is so informative. I think a lot of people always have these questions and they're a little overwhelmed if Hebrew is not their first language or even their second language, and they know that they need this information. So thank
Yeah,
you so much.
definitely. Definitely, you can always give a call to our customer service team. Our number is 1-800-722-7182. Go to our website and use the live chat feature, or send us an email, info at Ketubah.com. And like Aaliyah said, you can always reach out to us on any of our social media platforms, and we'll be happy to help you.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much.
Great. Thanks, Aaliyah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.